great basketball.
Defender to the basket, Jayson Tatum.
Recovering pre and post game back on this channel.
Welcome into Celtics Postgame Live, everybody. I'm Justin Lowe. The Boston Celtics defeat the Detroit Pistons 128-112 on their home court. It was an absolute bloodbath. The Boston Celtics started off the first quarter on an 18-3 run, then a 21-9 run, and then Detroit kept poking away, got down to 7. Then Jaylen Brown to finish off the first half, gave the Celtics some momentum, and then obviously out of that third quarter, out of the locker room was just a Jayson Tatum barrage. I mean, 26 points in the second half. He only had 5 points at the half and then finished with 31. Just an unbelievable performance from Jayson Tatum. Came out and scored Boston's first 11 points of the second half. And the Boston Celtics win their fourth straight game. They're now 8-3, and they sit second in the Eastern Conference, third in the Eastern Conference. Obviously Tatum, I said, but Jaylen Brown had 37 rebounds as well. Marcus Smart, another 11 assist game for him. Al Horford had a strong game, 13 points on 6 rebounds. Malcolm Brogdon had 9 points before he exited the game. He was out in the second half. He didn't return, a little hamstring injury, nothing too serious, but enough to keep your eye on. Derek White nearly got a double-double off the bench, 8 points, 8 rebounds. And then the story of the night tonight, obviously Jayson Tatum in that second half, but Sam Hauser, I'm wearing his jersey right now, played 31 minutes tonight and scored 24 points. Yes, 24 points on 6 of 12 shooting from 15 from the floor. That's a career high for Sam Hauser. So we're going to get into that a lot more. The Celtics was a huge win tonight against the Detroit Pistons. Detroit, they might be 3-9. They might be a lottery team, but with the amount of this young talent that they have on this team, it's truly incredible. They do have some of the brightest future in the NBA. This Durant guy who came off the bench, scored 10 points, got 10 rebounds, played about 30 minutes. He's only 18 years old. He's 2 years younger than me, nearly 3 years younger than me, which is pretty crazy to think about, that somebody 3 years younger than me is kind of doing his NBA at this age. Cade Cunningham, the Celtics shut him down, and I mean shut him down. He shot 1 of 11, 0 of 6 from long range, only had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, didn't let him do anything. But it was the second chance points that hurt Boston big time tonight. It actually let Detroit stick around in this game. I don't know the final number on the second chance points, but I can tell you that Detroit got 15 offensive rebounds, 15 offensive rebounds, which ultimately led to quite a few points for them, which kept them in the game. And that's a problem. That's been a problem with the Celtics all season long, is them getting out rebounded, right? I was talking to Rob. Rob went to the game. That's why he's not here tonight. But I was talking with Rob during the game. Like, early, the offense looked great. The offense looked pretty good, pretty solid. A few turnovers here and there, but the Celtics had the right thinking, right? The ball was moving to perfection. The ball movement is so pure. The shots, Celtics are getting great looks. They're going to fall. Some nights they're not going to fall. Tonight was one of those nights where it was kind of in between. They got great looks. They hit some of them. They missed some of them. It's a make or miss league. You deal with that. And then you also had great defense tonight. I mean, the Pistons and Celtics both put their third stringers in about halfway. That's why the Pistons 112 is so high. But when the Celtics starters were in, it was in the upper 80s, low 90s. It was not in the hundreds. So this was a really solid defensive game for the Celtics as well. But a problem that we've seen, and it's a reoccurring issue, is the rebounding, and more importantly, defensive rebounding. When you get a defensive rebound, that means you've closed out the possession without letting the other team score. It was a successful possession. It's another stop getting a turnover. It's another form of a stop. The Celtics have been unable to close out defensive possessions this year, and that teams are getting offensive rebound back out and getting these second chance points. We saw that both games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Huge reason why the Cavs walked away with 2 overtime wins was because the Celtics' lack of rebounding and the lack of physicality, the lack of big men depth. I was a little bit surprised. We only saw about 5 minutes of Noah Vonleh, and that was garbage time because Noah Vonleh is a great rebounder, and he's very, very physical. Yes, he gets in foul trouble very easily, but he's a very physical guy, and I'm surprised the Celtics have seen him too much, especially at home. I noticed that's been a thing. Maybe it's just because Cornet has been out the past couple games, but rebounding continues to be an issue, and that's a reoccurring issue. That's a problem I feel like the Celtics have always had. Obviously, missing Robert Williams, that's huge, but we can't use that as an excuse. We need to figure out these issues before Robert Williams gets back into the lineup, because without Robert Williams, essentially you are a whole other team for sure. But you want to be able to figure it out while these guys are not on the court, not with the team, because it's not going to be until late December, early January you're going to have Robert Williams. You need to figure that out. You need to kind of find a way to coast through these games and improve these rebounding numbers, whether that's being physical, whether that's altering a shot a different way. There's many things, many little things that can factor into getting a rebound. And I feel like I'm making it sound harder than it needs to be, but it's really not. But really, on a night where we really destroyed the Pistons, that's my only issue I guess I really had with this team tonight was the lack of rebounding on the defensive end, offensive end for the Pistons, defensive end for the Celtics. Other than that, I thought this was a really solid game for the Celtics. They're heading in and they're trending in the right direction. I guess we could talk about Jayson Tatum. I thought Brown had a solid game, 11 of 19. That's extremely efficient. 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 7 from the floor, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. Did a little bit of everything tonight in just 30 minutes. Quiet 30, in my opinion, for Jaylen Brown. He had a great first half. He's actually one of the best players to have a, how do I want to say this? How do I put it? He's one of the best first half players in scoring terms in the NBA. He comes out and he gets off to really, really hot. And that's huge for this tonight. That gave him a lot of momentum. It gave him a 14-point lead going into the break, which the Pistons had ultimately cut it down to 6%. Brown went on that little run. That was huge. He got this huge dunk, that slam dunk really put Boston, I guess, up another whole other level. It really boosted the intensity. It woke up the fans as well. It woke up the bench. And just little plays like that. And count on Jaylen Brown to make those plays. But Jayson Tatum tonight it was literally like we watched him play 2 games. And first half, he was struggling. Ball wasn't really in his hands too much. Offensively, he was great all night long in both halves. But offensively, he only had 5 points. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't really shooting. He didn't really have like a great, I guess, first, or like far from great, not even good. He had a horrible first half. And then he comes out, scores the first 11 points for the Celtics in that second half, boosted lead up to like 17, 18, and that's kind of when it started to get out of hand, was when Jayson Tatum took control of this game. And ultimately put this game away late in the third, early in the fourth. I mean, Detroit was just totally, they were wiped. Tatum caught them off guard, and I don't know, Tatum had one of those nights where he checked from left and right. He checked from 25, 27 feet out. He was hitting it like it was no problem, and in his face, and he was just draining it. It was that kind of night for Jayson Tatum. Blowing kisses into the crowd. He also had a few flashy assists, a couple of flashy dunks. Like, this guy was an absolute show tonight. This guy was a unit. This guy was a tank. He got what he wanted. I say it every single show. I say this to Rob. Rob's probably sick of me saying this, but I see Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics are at their best when they're aggressive, when they're attacking the basket. Well, I don't know what happened there. His free throws and his free throw attempts are skyrocket. They are sky high compared to recent years. And that's just because I think he's added, and he made it a point during the offseason, to driving and finishing around the basket, paint work. And you can tell that he worked on that this offseason. It's paying off tremendously. Yeah, we're only 11 games in, but it's coming up huge for the Celtics. And it's coming up huge for himself in his game as well. I think defensively, Tatum is a whole other player on the defensive end. I don't know what has changed. I thought last year he was a pretty solid defender. And we talk about the debate between Luka Doncic and Jayson Tatum, and we're not going to get into that debate, but certainly something you have to factor in is the defensive Jayson Tatum brings onto the court. I mean, that's what's making him a superstar. He's being able to score in your head, whether it's a dunk, whether it's a layup, whether that's a sidestep three, which is actually, we don't see too much of that anymore, which I'm really happy about because, yeah, it's a signature move, but he used to do that every possession. It was a little bit too predictable. And now we're seeing him play on both ends. Last year, and especially this time of year last year, about 10 games in, saw a lot of complaining from Jayson Tatum, throwing his arms up in the air, not getting back on defense. LeBron James-esque type play, and he's not on LeBron James's level, not on his status. And no offense to Jayson Tatum, that's just how it is. Like Tatum, he can't be known. You shouldn't make a name, especially at all, but especially when you're that young and you have that much career ahead of you, to be known as the complainer, the bitcher. If you excuse my language, we're up late here on the East Coast. It's what, 11 o'clock, 10:30. We can say that, but Jayson Tatum shouldn't be known for that, and he's not this year. We've seen him complain, we've seen him get a couple attacks, but minus that, Jayson Tatum has been on a whole other level. I don't know what's gotten into him. Obviously, I know his driving's a lot, his decision making's a lot better, his defense is a lot better. He's actually playing defense, getting back on defense. That's why his defense is better. These guys are buying in, right? These guys are having fun on the court. Jayson Tatum is one of those guys. He's just another player, and he's just a superstar. But also, I think he's realizing the maturity. I think the maturity of Jayson coming about, and I'm really excited to see that. I feel like he's humbled. Not that he necessarily absolutely needed to be humbled, but he's definitely humbled and he's definitely calmed down and relaxed. He's playing more comfortable. I don't think he took that final sauce for granted either. Like he legitimately, and Jaylen Brown and the rest of the guys for sure, but just notably Jayson Tatum. This isn't Tatum's first amazing game. He's having if you know the meme, you've been paying attention throughout Tatum's career. Jayson Tatum has these unbelievable stretches in January and February. He's having a very winter start to the season, and if that's the case, we could see this year round from Tatum, and he's ever so easily an MVP candidate. Yes, just 10 games, 11 games into the regular season. But that's enough about Tatum because he was tonight's player spotlight. He certainly deserved it. He helped the Celtics get out to this 20-point lead and ultimately put the Detroit Pistons back to Detroit and down in the dumps. It was Sam Hauser's night. I'm repping his jersey. This is a main Celtics jersey. I feel like nobody has this. Not even Hauser probably has this. But I have it because I'm a huge Sam Hauser supporter. I know that's Rob's. I'm also one of those guys who supported Hauser and thought Hauser should have gotten the chance. 31 minutes tonight, 24 points, a couple of rebounds, 9 for 15. That's 60% from the floor, 50% from long range. He was hold on, he had a couple. He had 3 fouls. He was -1, but Hauser was just unbelievable tonight. His shot is just so pure. His release is just. If you had a textbook, if you had a textbook and you wanted to teach a lesson on how to shoot a jump shot, whether it's from his base down to his feet to separate with, or his release form, it's just it's unteachable. It's all natural, if you will. I continue to be impressed by Sam Hauser, and he's stepping up, and he's living in the moment. So we saw this Sam Hauser come about in Summer League, and then we saw him in preseason, and obviously we see these amazing games from him. He's just on a whole other level compared to the guys who were playing in the Summer League games, who were playing in the preseason D League games. Like, he's an NBA-ready player, and that's why you didn't see him last year too much. He just wasn't a NBA-ready player. His defense was not there. His shooting was always there. It's been mainly a defensive thing. I'm also going to go ahead and say something. Guy is not so quick on his feet. A guy who's not really as athletic as a Jayson Tatum or a Jaylen Brown, but his skill is certainly there. And I could like freelance this, but I do want to read this text because I said this to Rob. This was before. This was in like the first half. And I obviously I stand by it because I said it, but I think this is like perfect, like the perfect, I guess perfect when say this. I said Hauser's doing things besides shooting three, and it's huge. Rob said, "Yeah, I know he's good," and I said his defense is starting to improve as well. I said he has no choice but to improve because soon teams are going to take away his 3-point shot. He's going to have to learn to find other ways to produce other than just make 3-pointers. To see him attack on both sides of the ball, that's crucial. And then on the defensive end, he's not crazy athletic, not so quick on his feet. So teams are going to attack him. He's going to have to learn to be patient, stay composed, and he's doing a great job at so. And then Jaylen Brown had a crazy job. That's exactly true about Sam Hauser. We'll start on the offensive end. He's always been an incredible 3-point shooter, even going back to his Virginia days. Um, he's just been known for his shooting. That's why he was undrafted, but that's why the Celtics brought him in last year in last year's summer league. They saw this kid's potential. They signed him to a two-way deal. Balled in Maine, absolutely balled in Maine for the Maine Celtics. Then trade deadline comes around, just running through how Sam Hauser was brought up. Trade deadline came around last, and then Boston had 5 open roster spots. They converted Hauser's two-way contract to a standard NBA deal, so Hauser would be able to play in the playoffs. With the regular season, finals goes by. Hauser joins the team in the summer league this past summer. Uh, Played 1 or 2 games, was unbelievable, just on a whole other level. Like I said earlier, on these other G League players, and so Boston signed him. They extended him to a 3-year deal, so he's going to be with Boston for the next 3 years. I guess now 2.5 years. They've seen potential in this kid, and they've stuck with him and they've developed him. And now he's getting a lot of minutes. Obviously, Gallinari and Robert Williams being out, that is certainly going to make a huge factor as to why Sam Hauser's playing this. But he's also a lot more NBA ready compared to last year. And we'll start with this talking about his offense. His 3-point shot is just so pure. I talked about it in the broadcast tonight. Um, and tonight, and I've noticed this the past few games, but Sam Hauser has been known to just stand around the perimeter because I guess that's his job. His job is to go out there and shoot. And that's his forte. That's what he's good at. That's what he trains for. But pretty soon, and what I was saying in the text, pretty soon, teams obviously notice that. Scouting with Hauser is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league statistically this year. Maybe a small sample size, 11 games, but it goes a long way, especially for a guy who really played in the NBA too much. That's huge. So Hauser, a strict 3-point shooter, he's going to have to find ways to score the basketball other than 3-point shooter because soon defenders are going to know, they're going to realize that Sam also does shoot threes. And if he slows out, if he double team, whatever, he has no choice but to give the ball up, let alone he might not even get the ball. So Hauser's going to have to learn to work around that, whether that's moving off balls, setting screens, getting screens set for him and him moving, whether that's work off the dribble, which we've seen a couple of times tonight. His footwork is certainly improving. Excuse me. As I said, it is not way more athletic than me, but this kid is not crazy athletic. He's not like a Derek White, a Jaylen Brown, a Malcolm Brogdon, Jayson. He's just not. That's how it is. But I also think he's a lot better at defender. And teams are going to attack him because of his lack of athleticism. He's not so quick on his feet. His footwork isn't necessarily there at the moment. It's certainly coming along. If I were to show you a game right now, tonight's game, compared to a game in the playoffs last season, like last year when he was getting minutes, it is drastically different. It really is. In that short amount of time, I noticed it, and I'm not a coach. I'm a fan of the game. I watched the game, and I noticed it. And pretty soon, Hauser's going to hopefully be a 3 and D player. Is he going to be a crazy D player, crazy defense player? Probably not. But for him to be able to contest and stay in front of his defender, maybe force him off the dribble, that's going to be huge for the Celtics. And I mentioned this, I want to say, was it the New York game? I believe it might have been the New York or Cleveland game, where Sam Hauser, obviously, I'm not saying he should suck on the D, he shouldn't try, but the good thing about the Celtics is they're a really good defensive team, and they have typically 4 to 5 guys on the court. And all 5 guys sometimes, if not 4, all play really, really solid defense. So if you have that one guy, Sam Hauser, who you might lack defensive talent, you're going to have somebody like Al Horford, somebody like Grant Williams, somebody like Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, to help you on defense. Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, 2 guys who you're most likely going to be playing with all the time because they're coming off the bench with you. Those guys are going to help, and we were kind of going to see this something similar from Danilo Gallinari, just a little bit more experienced and a little bit more talented on the offensive end. Gallinari is not athletic. He's not quick on his feet. He's certainly older than Hauser. And on top of that, like I said, he's just not athletic. That's just not how he is. So Sam Hauser and Gallinari are similar in some ways. But the good thing for Hauser is he's younger and he's a little less experienced, and he has a lot to learn and he has a lot to improve on. You're not going to improve too much at the age of 36 years old, and that's no disrespect to Danilo Gallinari at all. But my point is, Sam Hauser stepping in big, and if he's going to give you 24 points a game, come down, give you his all on the defense, but at some possessions, you might have to come help. You might have to hedge a little bit. That's okay, and that's 100% okay. And I'm really excited for Sam Hauser, and to see him shine in the moment is just absolutely drastic. Especially in games like these where New York, Detroit, they're good young teams. They'll give you the work. There's no walk in the ballpark, but at the same time, it's good to see those young guys like the Pritchard, like the Spencer, maybe even throw in a Luke Cornett, who I didn't think had a great game. But it's kind of one of those games where you can play those players to give them their opportunity to shine, while players like Horford and when he comes back, Time Lord and Gallinari, those guys can get some rest so these guys can come out, ball, and shine against these types of teams. And we'll see that later on in the season as well. But this was overall huge win for the Celtics. Keep their winning streak alive. They won 4 straight games. They're 8-3 in the Eastern Conference. They played the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets just had a huge comeback win against Indiana. They're on their East Coast trip. They beat the Pacers 122-119 tonight in regulation, so that's a huge win for them. They're also 8-3. So two teams who can easily be in their respective conference finals series when it's all said and done. 2 top teams when they're healthy. It's going to be, Al Horford, Grant Williams, Jayson Tatum, maybe even throw in Luke Cornett, Noah Vonleh, Blake Griffin, whoever Joe Mazzulla goes to on Friday night. They're going to have their hands full. Jokic going for his first straight MVP. Porter Jr. and Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, they're back from injury. Throw in Aaron Gordon, who had a monstrous game tonight. He had 16 points. When your small forward is getting 16 rebounds and scoring 18 points, you're going to win games. Celtics can't let that happen on Friday. It's going to be a test for sure. They're looking for their 5th straight win. We'll have you covered for Celtics Postgame Live. Celtics defeat the Pistons 128-112 victory. Celtics Nuggets back here at the Garden Friday night. Till next time, I'm Justin Lowe, and take care, Ghost.